Fire up the engines. It's time for drag racing exclusively on two wheels as the Western Motorcycle Drag Racing Association finishes up their S&S Performance Nationals. Bikes of all kinds come to the nation's heartland to partake in an American pastime.
This is drag racing. This is what drag racing is all about.
Welcome, drag race fans, to Eddyville Raceway Park, just outside of Okaloosa, Iowa. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ted Jones, and we'll be covering some different classes in week number 2 here of the Western Motorcycle Drag Racing Association S&S Nationals. All sorts of characters with unusual helmets come to drag race. We'll be showing you Pro Open, along with Vintage B Semis, Pro Eliminator, and many more. First of all, though, as I said, the first class coming up, Pro Open. We join you right now in the semi-final round number 1. Let's check now with Jack Corpella.
Drag racers live for records. The most important ones are being the quickest or the fastest. Mark Rendeluke is the fastest individual to ever pilot a nitrous bike, 207 miles an hour, sir. Tell me about that.
Our Pro Mod motorcycle is in Gillum, Louisiana. We ran 207.27 miles an hour, which we documented it as the fastest pass. And I'll tell you what, the faster it goes, the smoother the ride. I can't even begin to describe how smooth it gets as the mile an hour increases. Chris Wedman and I, we work our tail ends off every weekend somewhere, racing somewhere, going over data. And when we did that, I almost broke his back hugging him so hard at the end of the track when he told me how fast I ran. It was pretty awesome. They all coming after me now, you know, it's kind of crazy, but you know, we'll just do the best we can everywhere we go, and I'm just looking forward to racing anybody and everybody who wants to come after me.
Recently, motorcycle drag racing lost a legend of the sport when Gary Clark passed away due to liver cancer. This was Gary's home track. He held the speed record. You were able to surpass that speed record. Mark, what's that mean to you?
Well, it's an honor to fill someone's shoes like that here at his home track, and hope I made him proud of us being able to surpass that to a 421 from a 424. I'm excited to see if we can go faster this weekend and make him smile even more upstairs.
Okay, burning out right now is Kyle Fuzzy Olson here in the near lane. He'll be taking on the aforementioned Mark Rendeluke out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Good green light start, whole shot advantage to Fuzzy. Oh, he loses though. Guess what? Rendeluke picks up the win there. That's the bike of David Tybert right there. He is a welder by profession, sponsored by Outlaw Racing and Dragon Fry. A Suzuki 1100 GS. He's up against Brunson Grothus out of Iowa, also on a Suzuki. Oh, almost equal off the starting line, 1/10 of a second for both of them. Picking up the win right there is going to be Grothus. Once again, here's Jack.
Now, it's not all about the nitro. Some ultra-quick motorcyclists here prefer to use nitrous oxide as a power adder. This is just an absolute work of art that belongs to Ed Grothus, playing a home game here this weekend in your home state. I've been following you guys for a long time. I remember when you're coming up in the ET ranks. Now, my oh my, how things have evolved.
Getting a little bit more serious, I guess you could say. I built my first pro-style chassis back in about 2010. And I really shied away from that because I didn't think I had the capability to do it. But once I did it and got some things figured out, I think we started some good things.
Have you always been a nitrous guy?
Yeah, for the most part I have been. And we have been pouring nitrous to most of our bikes since the late 80s, early 90s. This particular bike uses about a pound per 1/8 mile pass.
Describe to me what it's like to make a pass on this beast.
Well, I personally have never made a lap on this thing. I've been
Well, that says a lot right there, right?
I've been 450s. My oldest of 4 boys, Brunson, has been 408.
There's no feeling quite like it, to be honest with you. When it goes one flat 60 foot, it really slams on the bars, hikes the front wheel, carries it out there. And then at about 400 feet, when you're on a really, really good lap, you can almost feel the wind like it wants to kind of almost rip you off the bike, so you really got to focus on getting really small and really tiny, getting behind that fairing.
I'm going to tell you, we're kind of a family-oriented team that's on a pretty tight budget. So we not only race the racetrack, but we race our opponent. We don't set this bike on kill every lap. We rely on great reaction times, pointing things straight, and making as close to a textbook pass as possible and going fast enough to beat our opponent. That's our goal this weekend.
Now, one of the things that makes drag racing so difficult is not only does it take a whole lot of riding talent and ability, it also takes engineering, innovation, and quality workmanship. This team has it all.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology, and by Precision Turbo, world's foremost manufacturer of high-performance aftermarket turbochargers, and by Race Gas. Get more out of your engine. You're watching Inside Drag Racing, week number 2 coverage of the S&S Performance Nationals from Eddyville, Iowa. Once again, here's Jack Corpella.
Now, what is really cool about the WMDRA S&S Cycle Proven Performance Nationals is the diversity. You have some motorcycles that were just built last year. They're brand new, they're state of the art. Well, you also have a vintage class with tons of enthusiasts. I'm talking some of these bikes are over 50 years old.
It's a hand-built 1973 vintage drag bike Triumph, 750cc, 45 cubic inches, runs on methanol and nitromethane. It's not real fast, but it's a lot of fun. I have a couple of Harleys myself, but my love is in the old Triumphs, and they don't like the Triumphs, and we don't like the Harleys, you know, so it grates a little bit. We really get along. It's a lot of fun. Good competition between everybody. They're coming from all over the states. I'm coming from Ohio, and we get together about once a year and have a really good time.
All right, so Vintage A, you heard all about it. Let's go with the semifinals right now with Joe Frochkel and Tom Rotert staging up. There in the near lane, that is Tom. Now, these guys don't have the greatest reaction time in the world, remember that. How about a .32 to a .36, Joe out first. Oh, no contest, really. Frochko easy wins, 7:29 at 96 on that old bike. Wow, here comes Jake Wang, his competitor Wayne Skinner. Well, they have a lot of fun, and they also have a lot of problems. Looks like almost a single run right there for Wayne Skinner. Now we have another vintage class here this weekend. It's called Vintage B. Old bikes once again. To learn more about that, Jack Corpella.
All right, Jay, you may have the oldest V-twin on the property here this weekend.
It's one of the oldest ones, that's for damn sure. It's a 72 Sportster, 77 cubic inch, 4 5/8 wheels, 1,000 barrels, 60 over. We run an S&S GAL carburetor, L series. We run a 4-inch slick on it. We shift it by clutch and foot. Just have a blast with it.
What's it like to go down the racetrack on a 4-inch slick?
Actually, we're having a heck of a time getting a hold of it. We got plenty of traction. Now we're just trying to figure out how to get it down the track. And today we did it. We got it down the track. Not as fast as we'd like, but we're getting down the tracks.
Now tell me what it is that intrigues you about vintage racing.
It's just the love of the sport. Goofing off, having a blast, getting out here with this old stuff that nobody else wants to do anymore. And there's no big sanctioning body for us to compete in anymore. So we come out and play around with the old stuff and have a little bit of fun.
Your friend over here told us there's a big rivalry between Harley-Davidson and Triumphs that still exists.
Oh,
you guys talking a little trash here?
Oh yeah, always. We're trying to get the rules worked out so there's a place for everybody to fit, and he's in a little bit different class than I am today, but you can guarantee we'll be comparing time slips at the end of the day.
Well, you gave me the politically correct answer. Now I want to know who's going to win between you two.
It'll be me.
Well, we'll have a pair of Harleys first. Jay Rogers, his 1972 Harley Sportster out of Clarksville, Iowa, against Alan O'Brien there, a truck driver, his 72 Harley Davidson out of Illinois. And the win goes to Rogers, 803, 88 miles per hour. These guys have a lot of fun. Next up will be Chris Potaxic out of Illinois. He has a 1967 Harley against, believe it or not, folks, the tech card just says Twang out of Davenport, Iowa, 1980 Harley Davidson. And guess who wins? Twang, of course, 707, 100 miles per hour. Let's move on now to Pro Eliminator. This is Andy Sandquist out of Sherritt, Illinois. He has a Kawasaki ready to mount up there. He's going against Roberta Seaman out of Emporia, Kansas. She is, folks, a court reporter. Interesting profession. Wow, good side-by-side drag race. Sandquist squeezing it out at the very end with a 674. Here comes Scott Grandy out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Has a 2002 Suzuki, going against Chase Cole, also riding a Suzuki GSXR 1000. Both drivers really like Grandy with a .33, Cole with a .31. But picking up the win there at the end will be Grandy. Combines that with a 672. Next up, Ryan DeBalt from Iowa. 1992 Harley-Davidson going up against Jeff Osborne. And DeBalt goes red. Imagine that. Minus .03. So Jeff Osborne will pick up the easy victory and move on to the next round. And that round will feature Scott Parker and Bill Anderson. Now, a reminder, these guys are running on a 670 index. You go quicker than that, you lose. And that's just exactly what Bill Anderson did. 669, he breaks out Parker, 671 with an 8. Now, this very unusual helmet belongs to Brian Iams, 50-year-old diesel mechanic, driving a 79 Harley XL against Damon Pulliam from Tipton, Iowa. He's a millwright. He's got an 84 Harley-Davidson. And the win will be Pulliam. It's time now for the ARP Quarter Mile Quiz, brought to you by ARP, world leader in racing fastener technology. This week's question, how much horsepower does it take to turn a supercharger? Well, Bill from Cleveland, Ohio, after the break, we'll have that answer. Stay tuned. Back on Inside Drag Racing. I know you want the question to this week's ARP Quarter Mile Quiz. The question is, how much horsepower does it take to turn a supercharger? With the answer, Tommy Johnson Jr.
You know, it's hard to even measure the horsepower of these engines, let alone how much the blower takes. But we have a blower dyno at the shop, and it takes an extremely large electric motor to turn that thing. So I know the power bill is pretty high, so it must take a whole bunch.
All right, thank you very much, Tommy. Let's check in one more time with Jack Corpella.
What you are looking at right now is one of the most classic and iconic engines in all of drag bike racing. It's kind of like the small block Chevy of motorcycle racing. It's a Kawasaki KZ. This is a very clean 1970s edition LTD. This is what you saw at the drag strip many years ago. 4 carburetors, 4 cylinders, beautiful 4-into-1 exhaust. There's nothing like it. But let's take a look at how things have changed and evolved. Welcome to Kawasaki's flagship performance motorcycle in the year 2015. It's the Kawasaki ZX-14. This one is set up for bracket racing, and I can see you have a lot of go-fast parts on here. Tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, I got a Brox Sidewinder on it. Got her stretched out 70 inches. Air shifter on it. That's about the extent of it.
Now, in your pit area, taking a look at this 1970s bike versus yours, how much of an advantage do you think you have today bracket racing one of these?
Well, you got a lot of horsepower to play with.
What's the level of competition been like out there?
They've been pretty good. Everybody's been consistent.
Street Eliminator round number 1 coming up right now. This is Patrick Kerr from Altoona, Iowa. He has a 2010 BMW going against Zach Taylor from Alpha, Minnesota. 2013 Kawasaki. Wow, look at Kerr runs. Ooh, 619, 109. That's the burnout being performed by Scott Parker. His opponent will be Kevin Shipley. Shipley with that Suzuki Hayabusa. Well, we got a good green light start there. A reminder to you, the dial-in index is 6 seconds flat. Parker had the whole shot 6:02 to a 6:05. Great drag race. Now the bye run will go to Tyler Easter. Let's see how close to 6 second flat he can get. 6:05, well, not bad, but remember, everybody's running O's. Pro Eliminator, round number 2 coming up. Andy Sandquist and Damon Pulliam. Oh, Pulliam way late. Had bogged right off the starting line. 0.18 reaction time. Sandquist should have this one if he doesn't break out. 0.03 reaction time. Oh, and he breaks out 6.96 on a 6.70. I don't believe it. He's going to be one sick guy when he gets back. Here comes Scott Parker against Scott Grandy. A problem for Grandy, 0.19 reaction time. Parker's got him again if he doesn't break out. 0.06. Yeah, he's safe with a 6.80. And the bye run will go to Jeff Osborne. Let's see how close he can go to 6.70. Free time trial, buddy. You can break out if you want to on a bye, 0.8 reaction time. And he did, 6.67. Take a little bit out next time. Street Eliminator semifinals, Tyler Easter back up again against Patrick Kerr. Kerr with a problem in the far lane, 0.17 reaction time. Easter, 0.08. Don't go quicker than 6. He didn't. And the whole shot pays off. 6.05 beats a quicker 6.01. Kevin Shipley will pick up the bye run. Free time trial for him. Remember the index on these guys, 6 second flat. Oh, Shipley under by a bunch with a 5.80. Better slow that baby down, Kevin. Pro Eliminator semifinals coming up right now. This is the class that runs on a 670. You're looking there at Scott Parker, who ran a 680 on a 670 dial-in the previous round. Let's see if he can get dead on. Jeff Osborne, red lights with a 0.02 minus, so Parker, oh, dead on, 670, 0. Wow, what a driving job there by Scott Parker. And the bye run will go to Andy Sandquist. 0064 reaction time. He needs a 70. Well, he's close, 671 with a 7. Great final coming up. We'll be back with more after this. This edition of Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology. And by the School of Automotive Machinists, SAM, education at full speed. And by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping.
We stand here in the cornfields of Eddyville, Iowa. I'm reminded of Field of Dreams because if you build it, they will come. And Sandra of the WMDRA, you have done a remarkable job building this thing because racers have come from all over to be a part of this.
They have. You know, we're actually really excited, and that's one of the things that the WMDRA is known for. We get people from all walks of life, and we have every motorcycle you can possibly imagine at this drag strip this weekend. The local community has really embraced this event. It is a little bit different event that they get to see here in Iowa, and we're really excited to come back next year.
Very impressive facility here.
It's absolutely stunning. I will tell you, this is my first time being here, and you know, just looking at the Google Maps and everything, when I pulled in, I thought I was at a country club. I mean, 70 acres of manicured lawns with a drag strip right in the middle. It's beautiful.
I've never been to an event before where spectators can actually test ride an S&S motorcycle. Talk to me about how that came together.
Well, actually, let's talk to you. You did it.
I'll tell you this. that motorcycle was a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. That's what's so cool about this race. Not only can you come spectate, but you have an opportunity to take a test drive. And that is because of my man here, Bruce from S&S. Bruce, what an opportunity you're giving fans. Tell me a little bit more about these test drives.
Well, the whole deal is we got this 143 cubic inch engine that makes 160 horsepower. Okay, I just threw a bunch of numbers in your face and you're going, whatever. But when you get your butt on this bike and you feel that thing stretch in your arms when you twist the throttle, then you know what it's all about. Proven performance, that's our company motto, and this is where we prove it. I've been doing interviews after they come off that bike and they're just awestruck by this thing. It's like, wow, I didn't know that was possible.
Well, if it looks like fun, that's because it is. So when you come here to the S&S Performance Proven Nationals, not only do you get to watch the race, you can try it out yourself.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. Looks like you're having a lot of fun there. Pro Open Final coming up right now. Brunson Grothus and Mark Rindeluck.
How's one learn how to do this?
Well, the best way is to start small. I started on a 600 cc street bike, then moved up to a Hayabusa, then moved up to a bracket bike that goes, 850s in the quarter mile, 530s in the eighth mile, and then I started putting nitrous on stuff. The best way to do it, to get comfortable and to do it right, would be to start small and just work your way progressively.
Well, that he did. Oh, red light start right there for Mark Rindeluck. So he'll give the championship to Brunson Grothus. Now, Vintage. This is the final for Vintage A-Class. Here comes our one-name friend Twang to the starting line against Joe Frochko. Well, neither one of them set the world on fire with the reaction time, but Twang will pick up the win, 7:10 at 98 miles per hour. This is Vintage B final, and again, Twang gets the bye run. The competitor could not show. 0.351 reaction time. Two more eliminators for finals coming up. First, street eliminator. This is the 6 flat index people, featuring Tyler Easter against Kevin Shipley. Wow, 0.8 reaction time for Easter. And he'll pick up the win, 6:03. Shipley tried to catch him, broke out with a 5.96. And our final run of the day, Pro Eliminator, the 670 index, Andy Sanquist and Scott Parker. Oh, Sanquist, unbelievable, 006 light. If he doesn't go quicker than 670, he doesn't. Picks up the win, 671. Parker dead on with a 2. That'll bring to a close 2 weeks of coverage of the S&S Nationals from Eddyville, Iowa. I'm Ted Jones for Jack Corpella. Thanks for watching. So long, everyone.